you, Chair. I will try to be as short as possible, but not to be very fast in order that the interpreters are able to translate. All the questions that were not answered, I engaged to provide written answers to the previous item. Moving on to the broadband, this is indeed a very interesting subject, a very interesting topic. I would like to particularly thank the Commission for the excellent cooperation throughout this audit, which was particularly challenging as a number of DGs were involved, as well as a number of different national authorities. As part of its 2020 strategy in 2010, the EU set 3 targets for broadband relating to basic broadband, which is up to 30 megabits per second, fast broadband over 30 megabits per second, and subscription of ultra-fast broadband, which is over 100 megabits per second. These are the 3 main targets that I will refer later in the report. To support these objectives, a series of policy and regulatory measures have been implemented. In addition, 15 billion euro have been made available to Member States for the program period 14-20 through a variety of funding sources, including a 5.6 billion euro in loans from the European Investment Bank. We focused our audit on the effectiveness of the actions taken by the EU and the Member States to achieve these 2020 broadband objectives. We covered the 14-20 and the previous 7-13 program period, as well as all EU funding sources, including the support provided by the EIB. In addition, we visited 5 Member States, namely Ireland, Germany, Hungary, Poland and Italy, and we had discussions with a range of other key stakeholders. Our main conclusion is that broadband coverage has generally been improving across the EU, but that the European 2020 targets will not be achieved. The 3 targets, while nearly all Member States achieved the basic broadband coverage, which is up to 30 megabits, and they achieved it by 2013, this will most likely not be the case for the 2020 target for fast broadband, which is for 100% coverage. Rural areas remain particularly problematic in most Member States, and by mid-2017 only 14 Member States had coverage in rural areas of less than 50%. For the 3rd target, take-up of ultra-fast broadband, only 15% of households had subscribed to internet connections at this speed by mid-2017 against a target of 50%. So achieved was 1.5 and the target was 50% by 2020. A particular aspect of our audit was the Commission's support provided to the Member States, and while it was positively assessed by them, we found that the monitoring is uncoordinated across different Commission's directorates general. We also found that all Member States had developed broadband strategies, but there were weaknesses in the ones we examined. Some Member States were late in finalizing their strategies, the targets were not always consistent with those of EU 2020. In addition, not all Member States had addressed the challenges related to their legacy internet infrastructure, their telephone infrastructure in other words, with potential implications for adequate speed in the medium and long term. Financing in rural and suburban areas was not properly addressed in 3 of the Member States we examined, while a major EIB project supported through the FC did not focus on those areas where public sector support is most needed. We also found that the legal and competitive environments posed problems in 2 Member States, and there was a lack of coordination across program periods in 1 Member State. We make 8 recommendations to the Commission and Member States, which are grouped in 3 areas: strategic planning, regulatory environment, and fostering competition. This is very much in brief. Thank you very much for the attention.